So let's take a look at the rules of sentence stress as well as ways that we can practice it. So in the poem that we read earlier, we had certain words that we emphasized. We emphasized a sailor went to sea. Why did we choose these words? We didn't emphasize every word. It'd be very strange if we did. Sailor went to sea. Very odd. We only picked certain words. Well, these words are what we call content words. These are the words that have the main ideas. The way we can test that is, what if I just read those words to you? For example, what if I said, sailor went sea could see, all could see, bottom deep blue sea. Could you understand what I'm saying? It's a little choppy, it's a little abrupt, but yeah, you get the main ideas. So basically what we're doing is we're choosing the key words, the words that contain the most important information, and those are the words that we emphasize. A sailor went sea, all he could see, bottom deep blue sea. Okay? And that's in essence what sentence stress is. If we have to be a little bit more specific, we can break this down into two categories. The words that we emphasize, known as content words, and the words that we don't emphasize, known as structure words or non-content words. Content words are words that convey the most meaning and typically are things like nouns, okay, main verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and generally anything important, okay? This also includes the WH questions, who, what, when, where, why, as well as how, names, dates, places, again, things that are important that convey the most information. The non-content structure words are words that are kind of there just to hold them all together, okay? This will include things like prepositions, in, on, or, that, okay? This would include articles, the, a, an. This would include verbs, but auxiliary verbs, okay? So these would be the verbs that you use to, for example, portray tense. For example, I will go. Go would be our main verb. The will would be an auxiliary. Modals would fall in this category. You should, you might, okay? Any of those auxiliary verbs. Conjunctions, okay? Fanboys, for, and, so, but. Typically, we don't emphasize those. Also, pronouns. He, she, it, they. We generally don't emphasize those. When it's a name, though, we would. John lives there. He lives there. So John we would emphasize, but when we say he, we don't emphasize. Okay? So generally, it's any word that is not that important, but just there for grammatical purposes. Those are what we call non-content or structure words. So what we have to do is learn to emphasize these words, which is not that hard, because when we want to convey meaning, like when we practice the word stress, it's pretty much the same thing. When we ever want to emphasize something, and obviously we want to emphasize meaning, we're going to stress the words. But just as challenging is to make sure that we don't stress the structure words. If we do, things will sound very awkward and people will probably understand you, but they're going to say, that person has a very strange accent. So this is the general rule. Content words we emphasize, structure words, grammatical words, we don't. Now, how can we practice this? The simplest way to practice this is to take a sentence and first identify the content words. After you identify the content words, we practice giving it proper emphasis. For example, here's a sentence. We're learning about rhythm and stress in class today. Okay. Now again, I wouldn't read it emphasizing every word. We're learning about rhythm and stress in class today. It sounds very strange. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the key content words. Which words contain the most important information? And again, if we're not sure, we'll look at nouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives, things like that. So the first thing we have is we have a we are. Now we is a pronoun. That's a structure word. Are, that's not our main verb. Learning, there's our main verb. Okay, so we got learning. About, preposition, we skip it. What are we learning about? Rhythm, there's a noun. And, conjunction, we don't stress that. Stress, there's another noun. In, that's a preposition. Class, there's a noun, that's important. And then when, today. Okay, so those are our main content words. Again, the way we can check is we can just quickly block off the other words and see if the meaning is still clear. Would this make sense if someone said learning, rhythm, stress, class, today? Absolutely, we would understand that, okay? So the first step is going through these sentences and identifying where the content words are. So why don't we do that right now? Why don't you pause the video, go through each sentence, and just figure out where do you think the stress words are? Where do you think the content words are? And then I'll show you a way that we can practice reading it together.